Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It's Monday, August 13th. The year's 2018. Let's talk trading. Traders are people. Why would I say something like that? Of course, traders are people. But people sure are funny. As some of you may know from my videos, I do home care for a couple of my friends. And because I do home care, I'm in the union. And I just happened to be running for statewide union president. We had our convention, quote unquote convention last week, from Wednesday through Saturday. And the reason I mention this is because people, some of whom I just met, some of whom, maybe I've met via email and Facebook, but we, finally got to meet. Some people I met for the first time. One of the things that some of these people shared in common was the belief that they know how I should be. In other words, you need to do this. You need to do that. You need to quit doing this. You need to quit doing that. It's almost like they were taking on a parental role. That's my view. Maybe from their point of perspective, they were just giving friendly advice, unsolicited advice. So, as traders, when we start talking to other traders, oh man, you should be using the MACD at this setting, or you should be using the stochastics, or you need to be using the EMA instead of the SMA. EMA is so much better, and blah 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 blah, right? Now, of course, you can say, well, look at you, rumpled one. You're telling everybody to use horizontal lines. I mean, you're laughing at the people who use squigglies. Yeah, you see, there you go. I'm people. But my point is, you figure out who to listen to and filter out the rest. Otherwise, you might get swayed into the latest, greatest, EA or seminar or something. So you remember, if you've been with me since I started this video series, I think it was somewhere early, you got to be careful. In fact, I did a book review. There's a book called New, N-E-W. It's a couple years old now, if I remember correctly. But, you just might have that gene that's predisposed for new things. And if you do, you gotta be careful, because next thing you know, you've got 27 indicators on your chart and you can't even see price. I mean, we call that chart porn, or charts on drugs. We laugh at it, but I guess it's a serious addiction, right? Indicatoritis or something. But anyway, just remember, traders are people. So when they're trying to tell you about this and that, you can smile and listen politely and thank them at the end. And, just keep doing what you're doing, especially if it's working. Now, if it's not working, make sure you are following the instructions properly and every time, and you're not messing with it, because that's another thing. Traders are people. As a candidate, they gave us 3.5 minutes for our speeches, and then we could have somebody introduce us, and they gave you 1 minute for an introduction. So a fellow candidate and we worked till like 12, almost 1 o'clock in the morning the day before our speeches, fine tuning them, and the intros, saying, going over it, making sure there's no words that we'll trip over, making sure we don't run over time. Well, somebody asked if they could do my intro for me, and they asked like when this thing first started a couple of months ago. So I worked on the intro, I gave it to them. But do you think they could read it as is? No. They had to go in and start changing things. So I bet you know what the result was. The 1 minute buzzer came on, and they didn't get to finish. And to me, it was just so makes you look unprepared and makes you look like an amateur if you're in the middle of a sentence that buzzer's going off. I mean, that's just. And then one of my running mates, last minute, made some changes. Got to stick with the plan. You know, you don't change up the plan at the last minute, but that's how people are. I mean, I had a plan too, but about 2 days before I was to give my speech, I realized something. So I chucked the entire plan, but I came up with a new one because I realized my old plan wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to do what needed to be done. It would be ineffective. Basically, it was a losing trade, from the start. But you have to be able to recognize that. And you have to be able to recognize that before the last minute. So, anyway, just remember traders are people. Okay, enough of that. Let's look at the charts. But you'll never have enough of this one, money and risk management. I know some of you guys like my segues, don't you? And these are all, for the most part, one-take videos unless I really mess up and have the wrong date or something stupid. So, I do these on the fly. Okay, the yen, 110.72. I believe yesterday when we were looking at it, I think it was maybe right on the edge here of this wick zone. Well, you can see it's out of the lower wick zone on the monthly. 61 pips off the bottom. Not a bad green rat trade, right? And here we go. We are now inside the weekly lower wick zone. Once again, 61 pips off of the bottom. And if you remember, yesterday we had a lot of nice open gaps here. Dollar yen filled it. Remember, I had highlighted the euro yen. Well, take a look. It filled the gap and then some. I mean, we have a high here of 126.76. And I think there was something like 68 pips. We're 122 off the bottom. So I don't remember. We have to look at yesterday's video to see where that price was on the euro yen. But I highlighted that, traders. And that was Randy real time. This isn't Harry hindsight talking. And here we go. We are in the daily. We are in the daily wick. Actually, we are now just above the daily wick zone. We exited it on the bottom. We exited on the top. Since we're talking about wick zones, we've got now two ranges over 100 pips. And the dollar yen coming in at 82, which isn't bad. Whoops. I'm still looking at the, forgot to put it back to dollar yen here. You can see here we exited that lower wick zone from yesterday. And now we're back inside there. And the buy zone. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, here and here. That's what we talked about yesterday. And here we go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Look at that. We took out the pivot. And you can see we had a nice rat trade here, rat reversal. Now we're having a rat reversal. Once again, Randy real time. There, we took out that pivot. Almost hit the weekly pivot. Something to keep in mind. 110.94 weekly pivot. We have a high of 0.929. And you can see here we took out that pivot. Remember, I highlighted that real time yesterday. And price action. I believe yesterday I think we were in this candle. Or was it this candle? I think it was this candle. Yeah, it was moving up and down. But you see here, green at the line, 3 ball at the bottom, green at the line, green at the line, green at the line, green at the line, green at the line. Hey, two ball on the top, red at the line. I'm glad there's a couple traders that like this and that are profiting. I am happy to have helped. And you can see here once again, we were this area, but green at the line. Have faith, people. Have faith in your method. Have faith in the H1 candle color. You can see it here again. And try, if you can, get the first line. It hits when that color. Don't sit there and wait. And once again, wick zone. Price hates being in the wick zone. In and out, and in and out, and in and be out, right? And we've got the holo set up. You can see right here, we barely touched it and then shot up. And that was good for about what? 70 some pips. Oh yeah, do the handy dandy. Put it here. Let's see. Okay, what am I doing? There we go. Yeah, 77 pips. Okay, inventory reduction bars. There was a trigger there. Boom. Another trigger. Okay, and here's your short, and there's your short right there. Once again, try to grab a handful of pips. Sometimes you get a bucket load. And more horizontal lines. Yeah, that's all that guy knows. He's a one-trick pony. Horizontal lines ad nauseum, right? Yeah, well, why? They work. Simple. Once again, H1 at these different lines, open, low, high of the previous day, week, and month. And you can see, once again, and I haven't had the screen on much for long. I was looking at a different MT4 portfolio before I loaded up the video, but you can see here a Randy real-time short in the making, prices below wherein I turned on the chart. And that's pretty much it, traders. You know, remember, traders are people. Take everything some other traders say with a grain of salt, because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So get out there and drain the banks.